Hi, my name is Jeff August. I'm the lead colorist at Look Labs, and today I'm starting a series of tutorials that are going to get you up to speed on how to use Adobe's new SpeedGrade and Look Labs' new Speedlooks. Let's get started. So let's start with my cheat sheet. The first thing I think we should talk about is what do you do when you first open SpeedGrade? Obviously, you're going to see something very similar to this, an empty SpeedGrade. But before we dive into setting up a project and getting rolling, I think there's something we should talk about first. Just like in After Effects or Premiere, you generally create a folder structure of things that you save, like projects and footage and so on and so forth. So before I actually start loading media or anything, I set up my project structure. So let me just show you that. I create a folder for every project that I do. In this case, I'll call this one Speedlooks Tutorial. And I create a number of subdirectories underneath there, which I'll link up in SpeedGrade in a bit. I've got an audio directory. IRCP is where we save our projects. I've got a looks directory, so every look that I do with this project saved. Also a mask directory. Even create a vignettes directory. And I have one called Work Looks because, you know, I create a lot of looks while I'm working, and so I use this as almost as a temporary. But you know what? You can create any number of folders in here and basically carry this around with you every time you start a project. In fact, I'm actually on a memory key right now, and so if I were to take this project into another post-production house with SpeedGrade, I could be up and running with all my settings and everything instantly. So, tip number one, folder structure. And again, project folder and then subdirectories underneath that. Now that we have our folders set up, let's launch into SpeedGrade and let's take a look at our folder structure. I'm going to go to my Speedlooks key, and then I've got our project called Speedlooks Tutorial, and if I hit the drop down, you can now see I've got all my folders all ready to go. Now there's a number of ways to load things into SpeedGrade. I've got a footage folder up here I'll just click on, and SpeedGrade has found 11 files, and we can see it's found some 444 ProRes Alexa footage, and right from here we could actually click on the clips and add them individually, or we could click this button here and hit Add All. When I hit Add All, I'll just hit Home now on my keyboard, and I'm going to hit the control button and use the cursor wheel, and I'm just scrolling out and zooming out of my timeline so we can see all of my cuts. And so now I can scrub my timeline, and you can see I've got a number of cuts. I can now hit the D key and then control home to scale the screen, and I see my footage. So one way of getting footage into SpeedGrade. The second way to get your footage into SpeedGrade is actually directly from Premiere using the send to SpeedGrade command. And what Premiere will do is actually create a DPX sequence at the resolution you specify, plus a SpeedGrade project that you can just directly open in SpeedGrade and start color correcting. The third way to bring edited footage into SpeedGrade is the way I actually prefer, and it's pretty old school. What I do is export an EDL from Premiere, and I've got one right here under Speedlooks Edit. Here's my Speedlooks Demo EDL, and I'll just click plus to add it, and it throws the EDL on the timeline. It actually shows me my reels down below. I'm going to hold the control button and use my mouse wheel to zoom out, and there's my timeline. I'll hit the D button and we'll see that I'm stepping through the timeline. I've got no clips loaded right now, but you can see down below it's actually looking for my reels. So alright, so we've got our EDL. The next thing we want to do is I've got a bin prepared with all of its footage right here, and so these are all Alexa 444 C-Log, and what I'll do now is I've got all my footage. Actually, it's in a number of folders if you notice up top here, and because I've got this feature selected, sequences from subfolder and subtree, it shows me everything underneath this folder and any folder within these. So there are all my clips. So the next thing I do is down in the timeline tab, again in Reels, I just hit load from desktop. And I mean, if you've ever had to conform, especially in the old days of linear world, you'll just shake your head, because in 5 or 10 seconds now I actually have my footage conformed. You can see down in my Reels section they're all there. If I hit D on my timeline and Control Home to scale my viewer, I now have my edited clips, and I'm ready to start grading in SpeedGrade. Alright, so now that we have our timeline, we've got our footage conformed, let's just go finish setting up what we need for our project. So I'm going to go to the Look tab, and you'll see down below here I've got, again, another multiple browser window. I'm going to set up my browser for looks and point it to where I want it. So I'll click over here, and again, in my Speedlooks folder, tutorial, and then I will choose looks. There are my looks, and then I'll create another folder, and I'll send it to my work looks, and then I actually create a third folder, and I'll send it to my vignettes. And so now I have really quick access to all of my preset looks as I'm moving along the timeline. Now, the last step I'll do also is just set up my mask bin, and again, click on mask, and we'll choose masks in our folder structure, and now we're set up. We've got our looks and our masks set up. We've got our timeline with footage. So check out our next tutorial where I'll actually talk about a really powerful workflow that'll allow you to move through a television show, commercial, or even movie in no time flat.